Hi Cancer, welcome to your April 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. Before I lay out the cards, I just wanted to kind of remind you about that Venus retrograde, because even in April it will still be doing its thing until mid-month, and then it will station direct. But even then it's going to be in I think about 26 Pisces. So it's going to take time to get back to the point it was before it retrograded. And so you're still going to be seeing the effects after mid-month, because it's going to have gone back into your 9th house, which deals with foreign travel and university level learning, your philosophical framework and things like that, religious issues. So when Venus goes back into that house, you may be dealing with a love that you met on some kind of vacation, on a travel, some travel that you took, or perhaps this person is from another culture. Something to do with your career sector, when Venus is in Aries, and then back into the 9th house. So more philosophical matters. So how those tie in together, that's only something you could know. But in some cases, it can have to do with other issues than romance. It could have to deal with compensation. Venus can indicate money whenever it travels in a certain house, and you may just be negotiating your pay raise, with your employer. So it might not affect you romantically, but I just wanted to put it out there for you. And everybody might hear from somebody from their past romantically. So wow. Well, I have two cards that deal with possible legal matters. The Justice card and the Judgment card. And not too long ago, I was curious because I really thought, maybe if you want to call it intuitively, that the Judgment card should be included in these types of love readings as potential court matters just as much as the Justice card, or at least in tandem. And sure enough, I did find a book that suggested that both of these could be dealing with that. So some of you, it may be an issue in the past, and it will be in the near future, that you're dealing with those kinds of issues. So for a love reading, we're talking about divorce, I guess. Maybe a Justice of the Peace, because it's right below the marriage card of the Ten of Cups. So I don't know, maybe you'll decide to elope. But anyway, the central theme for this month is the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles can be a man who is under the age of 40 perhaps, but an adult, and he is very he has the goal of amassing a certain amount of money. So he's Pentacles, he's rolling up his sleeves, and he's working. It's particularly connected to Taurus, an earth sign, but I would extend it to all of the earth signs, like Capricorn. And to me, it would be a Capricorn, which is your opposite sign. And the reason I see it as a Capricorn is that although I can totally see a Taurus person being a hard worker, Capricorn is really connected to that. And for me, Capricorn has the ambition to do this, not just to actually have the money, but to have the status. And so that's where the drive is coming from. And the other earth sign is Virgo. So I guess it could be any of those. So this could be a person that you've met. This could be a person that is in your life in some way. I suppose it could be a facet of you, if that's something that is true for you. It's a general reading, obviously. If it is you, maybe you've gotten divorced and now you have to make a lot of money in order to just support yourself. Also, it could be that you have a goal of buying a house maybe with this person, even though the Ten of Cups deals with marriage and family harmony. I would extend it to include a happy home and a good future together. So maybe you have that in the back of your mind that this is your goal. By the way, when I'm putting these cards like this, for me, through the viewfinder, it seems very like slow motion. So I don't know if it's showing up that way for the actual video, but it's strange. I don't really like how that looks, but maybe it's just while it's recording. So I'm just going to keep going because it's more effective that way instead of just trying to guess with these two cards and everything. Because this is the recent past, and this is a card that is associated with, as I said, it could be an actual legal judgment. It could be that the chickens have come home to roost for somebody. Maybe not you. Maybe you were treated badly in a marriage and that person took you for granted and they thought, she'll never leave. And you did. And maybe you didn't know you had it in you to do it, but you finally had enough. This can be a card also of rebirth. So I see it, you see that there's fire, there's flames. I see it as, going through the fire. Sometimes life seems like that you're going through this real trial. And it's funny, speaking of the word trial and judgment and legal matters, it's kind of like a play on words. But sometimes it suggests to me that the person has gone through a lot. Let's put it that way. And you may have gone through a lot. I don't know if it's connected to Pluto. I think the Tower might be, but maybe the Tower is connected to both of them, because Pluto, which, by the way, happens to be in Capricorn, so you have certainly felt the effects, specifically Cancer, in your marital situation, because it is in that marriage house. So if Pluto is connected to this card, it would make sense to me, because Pluto is all about regeneration. But there's that Tower situation that is the impetus or the beginning of that purification. There's a term called healing crisis, which means when a person gets sick. This is in the natural healing circles. But anyway, sorry for that for that little diversion. But anyway, yeah, so people that are into natural healing sometimes use the term healing crisis instead of illness or diseased, because they're saying that the body is trying to right itself and trying to get back into the state of balance that it normally has. And so while it's in that healing crisis, everything is up for grabs, or it seems that way. It seems like everything is chaotic. Even something like the common cold. It's like you're just in this war, and it's kind of cool if you don't take anything for it. You just like let it happen. And that's what happened with me when I got a cold. I hadn't had one for over 3 years, I think it was. And I was happy to get it because it was a purification. That's what I think you could say about the Judgment card. It's like a cleansing. It could be a spiritual cleansing. But while you're in the midst of it, it may feel like you're doing battle. And so it seems like, though, those days are over with, and now you're in this happy, calm time, And so the higher message is the Seven of Swords. What this can suggest, if you have a new relationship, you might want to keep it under wraps. In other words, don't, create a bunch of Facebook posts and all that crap, because, well, don't do it anyway, because that's lame. No, I'm just kidding. I know, no, I really do think it's lame, but I mean, I don't want to offend anybody if that's what you like to do. But the thing is that some of you may be dealing with somebody who is possibly, maybe they were obsessive, and you need to be discreet about a new relationship. I think that's a good idea anyway. I don't see the point in flaunting something. And you might end up having a better transition, especially if you want to get married or something like that. It might also be, oh, you know what I was thinking though? Remember I said about elopement? Maybe that's another possible meaning, that you are going to decide with this relationship you're not going to do it the same way. And that would be a good thing too. So think about that, because if you're trying to go into a new phase of your life, the Judgment card is number 20. So it's nearing the end. It's the card right before the World card. So the cycle is nearing an end. And usually it does indicate transition as well, to some degree. And then I also think March 20th, a lot of people will be watching this video before the spring equinox. And maybe that is a turning point when you have the meteorological, well, it's not meteorological spring, it's the real spring. And then the astrological new year. Maybe for you, this is going to be a rebirth on multiple levels. And so going into April, you're going to already be sensing that things are shifting. And you're moving in a different direction, but you don't necessarily want to just, I don't know, do it the way you did it before. The card that crosses you is the Temperance card. And it's funny, when I got this as a challenge position, I was just thinking about how I've been drawing the Three of Cups and saying, you might have somebody who has a drinking problem. And this is kind of the same thing too. Somebody who has an addiction. And so whether this is a person that you're with now, maybe you really are in love with somebody new, but they drink too much or they use too much. I was going to make a joke and say, I don't know if you can use crack, in a temperate way. But, alcohol too. I mean, alcohol is probably our biggest drug of choice in this country, and a very big problem too. What this could be, though, is something not even associated with addiction, but with your own mindset. Maybe you are being a little bit too bipolar. And what I mean by that is that maybe you have gone into a new situation. Maybe you're suffering for a long time and you found somebody new and you're already talking about marriage. And this is saying, hold your horses. You're moving too fast and you're imbalanced because you want, love, but you don't have to do everything so quickly. And it's creating, and you're doing this because you have an imbalance inside of you. Not that you're crazy. When I say bipolar, I mean that you're going from one extreme to the other. And it's funny because I don't typically associate the sign of Cancer with that type of behavior. But anything is possible when you really feel like maybe you were pent up, and maybe you were like a caged animal, and all of a sudden you're like free, as evidenced by the Judgment card, and now you're just like chomping at the bit to have what you didn't have in a relationship. You're a water sign, so you tend to really place a lot of value on intimate relationships. And that's cool. That's fine. That's who you are. That's how you're wired. But you have to do so with moderation. This could also be a Sagittarian who is causing problems, if you have any of those in your life. The advice, or what is coming in, is a Strength card. And I think that this is going to be more of a quiet confidence that you have developed because you have gone through the fire and you know what you don't want. Sometimes people have trouble knowing what they want, and the greatest gift to them is having the contrast of terrible experiences, because then it defines things, it narrows things down a lot. If you've always had trouble picking the right partner and you end up with somebody who has a full-blown alcohol problem, you might emerge from that situation and say, well, I'm still not sure exactly who is my type, what is the best kind of person for me, but I know what I don't want. And so I'm going to definitely not pick somebody like that again. And that can, get you closer to your goals, relationship goals, I should say. This can also deal with a Leo person. Perhaps this is the person of the hour, the person that we're talking about. Maybe you're the Knight of Pentacles and this is the other person. By the way, if you're with somebody who's a Leo, now it may not be the sun sign, but it could be. I knew a couple that was married for many years and until his passing, and the woman was a Leo and the man was a Cancer. So stranger things have happened. I will say that if that's the person, if it's literally a Leo, you're going to have to learn how to understand each other. You're different types of people. The adjacent signs, maybe some people think that because signs are next to each other that they have an affinity for one another, but they really don't. There really is an adjustment that needs to be made. For Leo and Cancer, it would be that the Leo person, I think the Leo person would have to make most of the adjustments, because usually because the Cancer person is a feminine sign, they will tend to be more accommodating. The feminine energy is passive and tends to allow that masculine energy to dominate. This is not gender specific, It could be a female, you could be a male Cancer and the same would apply. But the Leo person has to learn to nurture that Cancer, not to just demand that they are the center of the universe in the Cancer person's life, but to be mutual in terms of respecting and, nurturing them too, because Cancer people are, very giving, but they need that in return. And sometimes they can gravitate towards people who are takers. And Leo's a generous sign, but I'm talking about in terms of giving attention to other people, listening to them, really hearing them, and honoring them in their own right, not as extensions of you. And it's funny, I just kind of addressed it like I was talking to a Leo person and I'm talking to a Cancer person. So Cancer, if you are with a Leo, then I'm lecturing them and not you. And I will say, if somebody with a strong Leo connection, Cancer, that your job is to be positive in your thoughts, to believe that anything is possible, not to be too timid, fearful, not to freak out that Leo loves to spend money like water, because I know that you're very good with money, but I think there are more Cancerian billionaires than any other sign. So Ross Perot's a Cancer. Okay, so the outcome is the Justice card. Now, obviously, in the month of April, all these things may not be at play, but it could be that you decide to go through with a divorce. It could be that you have met somebody where you feel that it's going to be mutual, the relationship. It's not going to be lopsided. This Temperance card could also be, warning against imbalances, maybe in relationships, and you giving too much and not expecting anything in return. The Justice card, is associated with Libra. We have a Libra full moon occurring on I think it's the 10th or 11th, depending on where you live, of April. And this is going to hit your 4th house of home and family. So there could be some stuff going on there, that an ending. Maybe this has to do with your marriage in a roundabout way. Maybe one of you will be moving out of the home. Maybe it's a court order that one of you moves. Just something along those lines. Maybe you sell your house. Anyway, I do feel that 10 of Cups is the most important card in this love reading, because it speaks. The position that it's in is where you're at right now. So something good is happening. For some of you, it could be that the person is a water sign, a fellow Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, and then the Strength card might be referring to your own emotional well-being. It's right under the Judgment card, so it's maybe showing how far you've come. But anyway, the Justice card also could be that everything is in divine order. So if you feel like you've been done wrong in a prior relationship, do not worry. You don't have to get even. That's not the answer. It's always the answer to a life well lived is always not, I don't even want to say the best revenge, but just the way to go. And I think you're on the right track, Cancer. I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. I also have an ebook for sale, Manifest Your Soulmate. And so anyway, take care of yourselves. Bye.